I forgot the damn audio. I forgot the audio. Hello, 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 hello. What a wonderful start. You know, sometimes I do wonder. I mean, it's just one little button, but do you think I can remember to flick that switch? Good grief. Well, there we go. All of that waxing lyrical about all of those top secret GM things that I shouldn't have spoken about. No one's now heard about them. So there we go. What a pity. Anyway, it's good to see all of you here. I have done that so many times. I hate it. I really do. It's the bane of my existence. Anyway, so let me tell you what I'm actually supposed to be talking about. We are launching, in case the title didn't give it away. Let me just add the image here. I should have actually had it on standby, but I didn't think about that, did I? No, of course I didn't. Anyway, so the entire thing is that this is going to be happening. The Wizards of Cairnbari. Now, the Wizards of Cairnbari is basically an idea that I had, in effect, because everybody is sort of, well, to put it politely, stuck at home. I thought, let's do a series. But let's not just do a series. We're going to be role-playing for an hour a day. So it's only 1 hour. That's from 7 until 8 p.m. every single day. That's GMT. 7 to 8 GMT. And it's going to be kept to an hour. It's going to be fun. And it's going to be until all of this quarantine stuff blows over, so probably mid-April or so, which means we've got a good couple dozen episodes that are going to come together, and I'm going to try and make it as entertaining as humanly possible. I've got some great players lined up. You know most of them if you have watched anything on my channel. And we're going to be going through the story, The Wizards of Cairnbari. Now, I have, of course, got... well, yeah, I've got a whole bunch of ideas in my head, but I don't actually have a campaign. I reached out and I went, you know what, this is an opportunity for us to have some fun and for us to have some good old-fashioned engagement and to get you guys involved as well. I'm very aware that not everybody is used to having so much free time on their hands, and I thought, well, why not? Why not indeed? So that's what we're going to be doing for the next couple of weeks, is running this daily show. It will last for exactly 1 hour, and after the show is when I'm going to be taking input from you guys. So it's a very, very, very interactive kind of experience. During the actual show itself, I'll obviously be monitoring the live chat, but that's about as far as it goes. We only have an hour, so beforehand there won't be a before show, there won't be a pre-show, but I'll do a post-show where... all right, that was the episode. This is what was kind of happened. This is where we're going. So I need to create all this stuff. I quite literally was sitting here, I think it was on Monday, and I was going, you know, what can one do? What can one do? Not in response to this whole thing, but in terms of just having fun and capitalizing on this. And this is what I've come up with. So this is the idea. This is the idea. That means I need to create a campaign quickly. You know, just something that one does on the fly. And I know that a lot of you like to participate in these kinds of things and come on this journey with me, hopefully to see how I do it and that sort of thing. So, right. Now, let's see. I hope all of you guys are doing okay, wherever you happen to be in the world. So, yes, and I hope that certain people who are playing in this game are not in the chat. I don't think they are. They're not usually in the chat, so there we are. Right, so the question is, where do we start and how do we begin? I suppose the most salient place to start, the most important place to start with a campaign of this nature is to say, okay, well, where did the name The Wizards of Cairnbari come from? To be perfectly honest with you, I was sitting going, well, what could be interesting? What could be fun? And I kind of was fiddling around in DAZ, which is the 3D program that I use to make all of my imagery. The background behind me is made in DAZ. I mean, it's a lovely program. So and I was fiddling around and I created this wizard, that wizard in the blue, this old gentleman. He's a stock standard DAZ wizard, by the way. I basically didn't change anything. This is exactly what he looks like. And I was mucking around with this wizard, and I was like, you know what? You know what could be quite fun? Well, maybe a wizard casting a spell. Let me see if I can make that. So yeah, I started to make the background. I got this old ruined castle, and I kind of put that in, and I was like, what should I do? What would I call this? Should he be fighting an ogre? Should he be doing this? Should he be doing that? I'm not sure. And then I thought, well, what would I title it if this was like a book or something? And I was playing around with the fonts, and I've got this new font, which you'll see everywhere because I fell in love with it. And I kind of typed out the Wizards of Mim, the Wizards of this, the Wizards of that, and eventually my brain settled on the Wizards of Cairnbari. Why? I haven't got a clue. And I was like, well, the Wizards of Cairnbari, and then I put that sort of planet thing in the background with some exploding stars because I've been binge watching The Expanse, the sci-fi show. I've really fallen in love with that show, and I suppose that's where it kind of came from. And I was like, okay, all right. So I've got the Wizards of Cairnbari. Not a clue what it's about. Could be a role-playing game, actually. Now, this is all happening in my head on Monday. Okay, let's get some role players together. So I reached out to my usual suspects, and everyone went, you want to broadcast every single day, a live show every day? And I went, yes, why not? We've got the opportunity. Let's use it. And they went, all right, we're in. So we've got a lovely little cast that I've put together, and they went, okay, what we're playing? And I went, that's a great question. Tell you what, we'll use the new rule system that I have written. And they went, what new rule system? So I said, well, I was in Japan, and yes, I'm going to be waxing lyrical in today's video. I'm going to be going everywhere because I'm just having fun, and I'm so happy to see all of you here. I really am. We can talk about anything that you like, by the way. So in Japan, my partner wanted to learn how to roleplay. And I went, well, Dungeons and Dragons is very complicated to jump into, and there's this and there's that, and let me just write something simply and quickly and something that's going to be fun. So I spent a couple hours and I just jotted down a system, which I looked at and I went, you know what, this is actually not terrible. And then we went and we role played with some friends of mine, and we had an absolute blast. And I think the reason why was because the magic system is very, very flexible. I'll bring it up for you and I'll show it to you. And I'm actually going to do something else as well because you guys are here. I'm going to do something else as well. But you will have to be part of my Discord. So there is that caveat. So I went, okay, well, here's the rules. Here's the rules that I wrote down. And magic works this way. You build your spell as you go. So it's an awful page division. I didn't check this. As you can see, it's my notes. You choose a number of targets. There we are. 1 through 32, and per additional 5 people. You choose the range. You choose the damage if you want damage. You choose how long it's going to last, and that gives you your difficulty number modifier, your DNM. You can choose the weight of the target, you can change the attitude of the target, or you can create an illusion, or you can enhance a skill with this system. So you could choose, I'm going to choose 4 people that I can touch. So 4 people is a difficulty of 5. I can touch all of them, so it's +1, so that's +6. It's going to last for 4 rounds, so that's now +11. It has nothing to do with weight, it has nothing to do with attitude, it has nothing to do with illusion, but it does have to do with the skill enhancement, and I want everyone to get a +3, so that's going to give me another +5. So now we're sitting on, what was it? +11 is the difficulty number. That's the difficulty number to be able to give everybody, well, to give 4 people in your party a +3 to their next attack for 4 rounds. So to the next rolls, for the next 4 rounds, they get +3. Beat a target number of 11. So the spellcaster then rolls a 1d12 because it's a d12. They add their magic skill and they have to beat an 11. Now, if they fail, by the way that the system works is, let's say they roll an 8. The spellcaster takes 3 points of damage because they summoned the magic and then they couldn't get rid of it. So it started to do stuff to them. Because what happens is, It's called the try system because you can try anything that you like, and it works off of the principle of the fact that you have 3 spheres: physical, mental, and spiritual. These combine together to give you your individual whole. So you might have 5 points in physical, you might have 3 points in mental, and you might have 3 points in spiritual. When you take your mental damage, you lose from your mental sphere, obviously. When your spheres reach 0, you die. But depending on how you died, you might suffer from consumption, where you become a deathless or a voider or a ghast if you're using magic. Now you can also just use a consumption point to gain +5 to your next skill check. But effectively, everything runs off of skills, and that's how it works. So, and there's a whole bunch of skills, and everything has a difficulty number, and you have to overcome the difficulty number. Combat's very, very simple, and the whole thing was designed to be very, very quick and very, very simple. But what it did was it allowed people to work together and say, oh, okay, great. I can create any kind of spell. Absolutely. You can do anything that you can come up with. You just combine it together and you get your difficulty number, and then you can do it. So you want someone to fly, one person to fly. Okay, you can touch them. Okay, so we're still only on +1. You want it to last for 10 minutes, so it's now +13. Okay, that's interesting. Or +14 as the system would actually be. And that person weighs how much? Because the weight of the target. They weigh 200 pounds, so that's +9. So we're now on +22. If you want to fly for 10 minutes, good luck to you. So obviously there's more to it than that, but it is simply that. Now, this PDF I am going to drop into Discord right now. So if you want it, you got it. Just, you can go mad. Use it as you like. It's not complete. I haven't finished writing it. I'm going to put it into the... Where am I going to put it? I am going to put it into... I'm going to put it into Circles of a GM. I'm going to put it into the Circles of a GM. He said, not knowing how to do that exactly. So if you want to grab it, off you go. You can get it. Circles of a GM is the space... I have dropped it in there. I'm not going to label it. I'm going to tell anyone what it is. I'm just going to put it there. So if you want to go grab it, you can. That is on our Discord server. That Discord server link is discord.gg/greatgm. There we go. Got it. Landon's got it. Help from above has got it. I see some people are saying thank you. So there you are. Grab it if you want it. It's very, very simple. It's a D12. It's straightforward. That's what the guys are going to be playing. So I went, all right, so we've got Wizards of Cairnbari. We've got ostensibly a role-playing system where anybody can cast magic. And that's the whole point of this world, is that anyone can cast magic. The problem is when you don't know how to cast magic, and you might be a little peasant and your field starts to die because of locusts. And you reach out to the local lord, and the lord says, I can't help, can't do anything. It's beyond my control. So this little peasant goes along and says, right, I'm going to use magic. No one will help me. I will use magic. And they try to cast the spell to eradicate all locusts. But each locust counts as a target. So the poor, poor little peasant might try to cast this thing. The number of targets is 300. So that pushes the difficulty number to some ridiculous amount, several hundred as a matter of fact. And the damage he needs to deal to these things is only 1. It's a grasshopper, it doesn't have to have more than that. But that's still +1, so now it's several hundred +1. And so he casts the spell, but of course he does not have the magic. He does not have the actual capacity. He rolls his little D12. Maybe he spends some magic, some of his mental points, because you can do that. You can spend points. And he might get a 6. Great, he takes 120 damage. Now, when you take a vast amount of damage whilst casting a magic spell and you fail, you will become one of these creatures. You become deathless. Or I think in his case, with his mental collapse, he would become a... sorry, I'm scrolling. He would become a voider. where the character has lost all of his mental score. It's all gone, and he's become an insane berserker who will now run around and terrorize the village and destroy the village. Now, this is a very long preamble to telling you about this whole idea. So, anyway, this poor peasant becomes a voider. He then eats his family because he's completely nuts. And they become really powerful, by the way, when that happens. And so then someone has to go and stop him. And that's where the heroes come in. So when you have a world that's got lots of magic, there is a significant risk that people are going to be doing crazy things. But what that does is, for us as storytellers, is that it creates some amazing adventures. It creates a huge amount of opportunity. The goblin who's desperate in a battle suddenly tries to pull on magic to give his weapon an enhancement. Well, isn't that just a wonderful way of saying, hey, the PCs are going through this combat really, really easily. I need to increase the damage that my creatures are doing, or I need to make them more fearsome. Well, now they can, and they can do so from a narrative perspective. This poor little goblin tries to pull on power, fails completely, and is transformed into a Deathless. That's scary. That Deathless is now fighting not only the goblins, but also the PCs, and is so much more powerful. So I had this title, The Wizards of Cairnbari. I had the system, and I went, okay, and I've got the players. What's next? What is next? How else do I... Well, next is coming up with a story. And we've got this world where we've got magic everywhere, and people will have to go and hunt them down. So I said, right, well, that's it. The Wizards of Cairnbari. Cairnbari is this area that they're in. Perhaps, I don't know for certain. And they're going to be hunters. They're going to go around and clean stuff up. Now, I realise that's very similar to The Witcher as a general rule. But I think magicians in this world are seen as individuals who can control the ether, the magical weave, or whatever you might call it. And so would be accorded a certain amount of respect. But there's something very critical about this system. And the thing that's critical about it is that there's no healing through magic. Magic is all about pulling energy into the world and then shaping it and using it. So you can't heal someone with it. And as your spheres take damage, you suffer. And you can only get that back through rest. You get them back fairly quickly, but this is not 5th edition where you sleep for 8 hours and you're fully restored. This is you get back 3 per hour of rest. So you can get back quite a lot if you get a good night's rest. Anyway, so let's see what people are saying in chat now that I've finished that. Goodbye, Ryan of Figs. Sorry you had to leave. Hello, World Anvil. How are you doing? How are you doing? I'll be using you shortly. Well, probably not tonight, but definitely inputting all of the stuff into that space. Kyle Van Thorn says, could I not cast a blizzard and difficulty be measured by area? Yes, so that was one of the tables I forgot to add in. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like I said, it's still a work in progress. So you're talking about area of effect, and I knew there was something I forgot about. So area of effect, you're absolutely right. This is why I love interacting with people. It's like, well, hang on a moment. What about areas of areas of effect? Yes. Well, an area of effect, one could argue you could use the range table for. You know, I want to affect a 10 foot by 10 foot square, so that's a 100 foot square. So is that range 100 feet or less? You could. All right. So I will make a note of it. He said, figuring out where to make a note, staring at his digital device, which you could make notes on at any time. Add in area of effect for magic. Right, there we go. Look at that. Brilliant. That has nothing to do with world building, but there we go. It's a start. Or does it? I mean, world building is all about making a space in which your game is going to play and making sure that all of the information that you're doing, your players have as well. Now, obviously not the world mystery and the plot history and all that kind of stuff, but I'm talking about homebrew rules. And this is basically, the entire thing is a homebrew rule. So I need to make sure that my players know all about this kind of stuff and try and anticipate what kind of rules and things they're going to need. So it is absolutely part of preparing. Now, Let's see, more questions. Just as a reminder, please write the word giant question in the front of it, please. If you could, that would be really cool. Then it can sort of jump out. Let's see. Han Zan says, "Hi, do you have some additional things for world building a cyberpunk world?" What do you mean by additional things? It's a pretty broad question for world building a cyberpunk world. Hanzan, world building in general, if you want templates and all that kind of stuff, worldanvil.com is the place to go. Use the keyword GreatGM, code word GreatGM, if you want a discount, if you're going to sign up for a subscription to that. That has a whole bunch of stuff on world building templates that you can have a look at. SJF Feathers says, unless the Cairnbari are an order. Yes, so that could be it. The Cairnbari could be an order. Now, one of the things that the players were talking about was they said, well, what if one of us is a grumpy old wizard, professor, a teacher, if you like, kind of like the Academy from Fable, that PC game that came out so many years ago. That could be quite cool. And so I went, well, I don't mind if you're a teacher. That's certainly cool. Certainly cool. So let's have a look at that. Maybe let's follow along those lines. What will the other player be? The other player jumped in and said, oh, well, maybe I'll play an elf, a young, inexperienced sort of companion. And I went, lethal weapon style. That's brilliant. And this is something that I always do, is I always pull across and try and immediately line up suggestions with books or with computer games or with movies that I have seen before. Why? Well, it's not so that I can steal plots from them. It's so that I can look at them and go, okay, that's what we expect from that genre. Put an old person and a young person together, and what we expect generally, especially if they're forced to work together, is an antagonism, the old wise one, the young brash one. They need to learn from each other. The brash one needs to learn temperance. The old one needs to remember about spontaneity and living life and that sort of thing. If they pair together, that's usually what we kind of expect. So that's definitely an option for us to explore. So yes, it could be an order or an academy. So yes, there we go. Trackstar Omega just joined. What on earth is going on? Well, I'm launching a new campaign on Monday. It's an hour-long show just for the duration of most of our what do they call it, self-isolation period. So probably until about the mid of April. It won't go much longer than that, but it's an hour-long show every single day. It will be available on YouTube. It'll be on the Twitch channel until it gets deleted, and I'll make it available as a podcast. And if you didn't know, we have now officially opened our podcast. It used to be just for the Patreons. The Patreons now get the podcast 3 months before everybody else, but everybody else, you are now able to access the podcast that we recorded. So this will go into the podcast as well. It won't be a 3-month delay. It will just be part of the podcast, and you'll have access to them if you so choose. Billy Hollywood says, what is your favorite tabletop role-playing system? My favorite tabletop role-playing system are D20 Modern. D20 Modern, it's basically D&D 3.5, but in the modern day setting. And I just like those rules. I love those rules. I thought those rules were super cool. Sammy Crit Fiddle, got a motor, off you go, be safe out there. So, Kylan Duncan says, have you ever played Mazes and Minotaurs? I have not. I relish the option of playing something like that. Looks really, really cool. The Ganondorf 96 says, or Thegan Ondorf says, I just joined. What are we talking about? I think I've answered that question already. Landon says, does your system have anything for magic items or enchantments or permanent benefits? It does not. And there's a reason for it, is that the idea, which is not expressed in the rule set, like you said, I mean, it's 6 pages, folks. It's really not fleshed out fully. But the idea is that one pulls the energy from the ether, and one has to hold that energy using your own physicality, your own spirituality, your own inner power. You're holding that, you're shaping it, and then you're releasing it in this world It does its thing and then it burns away and rejoins into the ether. So creating a magical item would be incredibly difficult. Having said that, maybe in the future we might add that where you can actually bind it into the armor or into the blade. They would be incredibly rare. And the reason for it is magical items, in my perspective, magical items are very much just enhancements for the PCs. Here, the PCs can enhance themselves. A warrior who has phenomenal skill with a bladed weapon can still use the magic that they have access to enhance that weapon even further. So when you look at it and you say, okay, well, this is going to be doing +3 damage. I'm casting it on my blade, so it's a touch, or +4 damage. That's only a 60 difficulty number for the mage, or for the fighter to cast. 7 difficulty number if it's going to last for a round. So how does that express itself? Well, the player must tell me. It illuminates the sword with flaming ether, which is just there for a round because it's difficult to hold the concentration, and then I strike with my blade. So that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. Let's see. Hanzan says, what I was trying to say is there something else that you would suggest to me? I saw your video about the cyberpunk setting. Yes. There was lots that I could still go on in terms of cyberpunk. I think cyberpunk is one that we have to be very careful when we're exploring because we really are almost in the cyberpunk era as it is. Cyberpunk is near sci-fi, near future type of stuff. And what is our near future? Where are we going with that? So I think when it comes to cyberpunk, it's about the familiar, and it's also what does cyberpunk mean specifically to your setting, Hanzan? Is it something that is particularly focused on the tech? Or is it on the neon glitz? Is it on the sleaze? Try and find out where your campaign will be sitting. And then look at aspects of what we have currently and how would they be enhanced by holograms, by crude technology. Think about it from those kind of lines. Alan Branch says, have you ever tried the system Open Legend? I don't think I have. I'm going to say a no until I see the book and go, oh yeah, I have done. So I don't think so. Nico no Kenshi says, how do you make sure your ideas that are well balanced or at least don't have a huge difference? In what? Can you just expand on that, Nico no Kenshi? Just expand a little bit on what you mean by that. How do you make sure your ideas are well balanced? There's a huge difference between what? Between the different ideas. Just expand on that one a little bit. Judgment's Kiss said, when creating a new magic creature that is semi-sentient, what would be the do's and the don'ts? Semi-sentient. Are we talking dogs? Are we talking dolphins? Are we talking chimpanzees? What's your definition of sentient? What's your definition of sentient? Come back to me on that one and we'll take it from there. Ian Emery says, have you done any campaigns in the second edition of Pathfinder? If so, what did you think? I have only played Pathfinder 2 Alpha. So when they were doing that big release, they gave it out to a whole bunch of people to try. I did that one with a GM who knows his Pathfinder. We played it. I must admit the huge numbers were very overwhelming for me. I loved Pathfinder 1, really loved it. But if you asked me about the world setting for Pathfinder, I could not tell you. I couldn't even tell you. Is it called Galorian? Galorian, I think it is. I have never played in that setting. The Ganondorf, or Thegenondorf 96 says, how in that world would healing work? If you're talking about the world that I've created for the Tri system, healing is doctors take care of you and they take time. The reason why I didn't want there to be magical healing, and there's room and scope for potions of healing, by the way, which don't have to be magical. They can be elixirs that are brewed out of knowledge rather than out of magic, is magical healing has a huge problem in terms of high-level campaigns. So when your party's been going for a while, the character dies. It's no biggie. We'll go and get them resurrected. We'll get them reincarnated. We will use magic to remove the element of fear of death. And I don't really like that. I remember in I hate to say it, the good old days, but I remember in my older role-playing days, when I was younger, we would pause before going into a combat because they could be deadly. 5th edition, there is very seldom pause because there's usually a healer or a cleric who can just create magic which simply brings everybody back to life. What that does, in effect, is it actually prolongs the combat. And combat, although it can be fun, after a while it's like, well, I can't kill these guys, and if my NPCs have a healer, which they would, under most circumstances, they definitely try that. Anyway, so magic does not allow for healing. Daryl Lieber says, I had to step away for a moment. Please, did you explain the skills list table? There are no headers, so it's a little confusing. Yes, it's very, very cryptic, isn't it? So what we're talking about, folks, for those of you that have just joined the stream, yeah, we are growing in number. So yes, for those of you that have just joined, we are talking about my rule system that we will be using for the Wizards of Cairnbari. And in it, it's very simple, guys. This was written in a couple hours. So the question was with the skills list, what the hell does this actually mean? So the first column is the actual skill itself. Bladed weapons. So that's axes, swords, daggers, pole axes. Choose your bladed weapon. That's your bladed weapon. So that's usage of all bladed weapons. So the central column is a rough, very, very hack and slash kind of description of what it does and enables you to do. And not to go into the full detail, but when you create your character, you choose 5 skills. When you choose bladed weapons, you gain +1 to your spiritual sphere. So you have 3 spheres: spiritual, mental, and physical. So when you choose bladed weapons, because in my brain, it's about control, precise control and usage of a blade. So that's a spiritual discipline of self-control. So you gain +1 to your spirit. So as you choose your skills, your spheres of who the character is slowly change and increase. So you could have 2 characters, 2 humans, 2 fighters that are identical, but because the one has gone for bladed weapons and the other one has gone for bludgeoning weapons, their spheres are in a different balance, if you like. So that's basically how it works. Non-lethal weapons, so fists, koshes, saps, you name it, that's where that goes. And then the list goes on with various bits and pieces. Now, because I wrote the system to be agnostic, there is vehicle operations in 3 dimensions, which is space. It could be if you're flying on a dragon, you're operating in 3 dimensions, so that gives your mental sphere an increase. What also happens is if you go up a level, you might get to choose 2 more skills. You could choose bladed weapons again, and again you'd get +1 to spiritual, but you would now have bladed weapons 2, which means that you get a permanent +2 whenever you are rolling an attack with bladed weapons, an attack or a defense, by the way. So there we are. Okay, so that's that. I can explain it more if you like, but we are trying to design the campaign for the Wizards of Cairnbari, slowly going through everything. Next, the Board Lich says, how can I as a GM do to make an over Discord session go as smoothly as possible? What can I as a GM do? What can I as a GM do to make an over Discord session go as smoothly as possible other than software? One of the critical things that people often don't get when it comes to role-playing online or role-playing live and that sort of thing is to have respect for your fellow players in terms of audio. It's fine for us when we're sitting around a table to lean over and chat as an aside to our fellow players, or for us to talk to the GM while somebody else is talking to the GM. That's rude, but it happens. And sometimes you get excited and you're like, oh, sorry, I want to do this, and you're talking over. When we are in a session where everyone's on microphones and headphones and stuff, it just becomes noise. So the biggest thing to making it run smoothly is for everybody to respect everybody else and basically to wait their turn. It does also mean, as you as the game master, you need to be a lot more specific in how you handle your table. So whereas when you're sitting around a table in a real room, people can talk and shout at you and you can make eye contact with people and see if they want to talk or not. Body language is really powerful when you're playing online on Discord, or even if you have video, if you're using Zoom or Skype or Discord itself. Oftentimes it's difficult to tell whether the person is making eye contact with you or whether they're reading their screen and their camera just happens to be well positioned. So what that means is, as the game master, you have to work your way around your virtual table. Work through each of those video feeds and ask each person each round, what is your character doing? And especially in non-combat situations, because you might get one character who is very sharp and very quick and has a lot of plans and ideas, and they will dominate the table because they're the ones who are talking the most. So the rest of the table's quietly waiting for their turn. But if you as the game master don't step in and say, all right, okay, John Michael, you wait. I've heard what you said. Now let's go through everybody else. Let's go through so-and-so, 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 so-and-so. Right, fantastic, good. That's what everyone's doing. So you have to control that space. But that would be my first suggestion straight off the bat. I'm not seeing any more questions. So that's great. I see there's discussions going on. That's absolutely wonderful. Skype is quite busy talking about 5th edition. I see there that YouTube is talking about the rule not to speak during another person's turn. Absolutely. Correct. And yes, there are some things that you have to be aware of. Things where you have to interrupt. So my character's about to jump off the ship. Oh, I try and stop them. There's going to be overlap, obviously, but one has to take it as it is. Omnimoto says, how do you inform the players of the time limit that they have to stop a big bad monster's actions before it's too late? The biggest thing is quite easily the players need to uncover the time code. If you think about most films where there is the big bad is going to destroy the world, they always give a time frame, and they don't make it secret. They don't hide it. Or if they do, it's right at the beginning. So if you think about the film Independence Day, 1998, one of the last films ever to be made utilizing a vast number of miniatures and CGI. After Independence Day in 98, they were then pretty much dominated and stuck to CGI. It was cheaper than building models, and you could do more interesting things with them, supposedly. Anyway, 1998, Independence Day, Will Smith is doing his thing to save the world. The very first thing that they discover after the initial encounter is the countdown. Well, it's counting down. We've only got 25 days. Always, it's a countdown. So if you are going to have a time-based situation, and let's face it, it pretty much always is, you need to get the players to know about it as soon as possible. Absolutely as soon as possible. Make it a riddle. They have to figure out why. What are these? These aren't numbers. These are symbols, and the symbol changes from a whale to a dolphin to a tuna fish to a crab to a shell, and then back to a whale. What's it doing? It's etc. etc. All right. So you can come up with that, but you have to give it to them as early as possible, so they know what's going on. Jimmy James says, maybe it was answered, what is Cairnbari? The world, the order, the name? We don't know at this point. I literally, at the beginning of the stream, was saying, I just came up, I wrote the Wizards of Cairnbari, I had a double I at the end, so it was Cairnbari. But it was Cairnbari, just sounds better. Cairnbari sounds better. I didn't put the I in, by the way, because A, I'm horrible at spelling. My spelling is atrocious, absolutely atrocious. But B, you don't need it. You really don't need it. It's just Cairnbari or Sandbox. There's either way. But what is it? Is it a college? Is it the Ether? Is it the Order? Who knows? I think it's super cool. I think it's super cool that this is something that we can debate and discuss. Oh, 1996 says Sludge. So 96. Why did I think 98? 96. I will defer. So there we are. You actually used a quote 2 hours ago from the movie. So there you are. Right, 1996. I stand corrected. I frequently stand corrected, although I'm a dirty liar because I'm actually sitting down. Cairnbari. Yeah, Des. Cairnbari. Yes, the Wizards of Cairnbari. Aha! Euphonic says, for new players, what are your thoughts on guiding the PCs on what they are doing and why? In terms of new players, and you are guiding the players as well as the PCs, so they're new to role-playing, so hey, you should explore the room more. Don't forget you can look around. Absolutely, I think that's vitally important, because a lot of players are going to be coming to the game having played computer games where there are a huge amount of unnatural restrictions. Most computer games, it's even though it's sandboxy, you can still run to the edge of Skyrim. And yes, you can collect books in Skyrim and fill your house with books in Skyrim, but you can't set those books on fire, burning the entire village down. You can't do that. So it's about educating. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's about educating as well. So, Sliso. There we go. That's how we pronounce it. Billy Hollywood, what are your thoughts on running a sandbox campaign? Well, I'm kind of thinking that's what the Wizards of Cairnbari is. Now, this position of 1 hour. Why only 1 hour? Well, I think 1 hour is more than enough time for us to get in some action, to get things moving, and to kind of leave it on a bit of a cliffhanger, to make it almost like a TV series. The biggest challenge that we have, of course, is players are thinking and we're talking scenes through. We're not actually seeing them. A picture paints 1,000 words. So we can see a lot of pictures in an hour. We can only say a certain number of words in an hour. And that's a physical limitation. So that's what we're going to be doing. Is it going to be sandboxy? Can they go wherever they like? They can always go wherever they like in my campaigns. It really doesn't matter. I will always adjust to accommodate. So I like to think that my games are sandboxy. Now, I'm very aware that we're 45 minutes in, and so far we haven't done any campaign designing. So I really want to do some campaign designing tonight, because I have a game starting on Monday. And I have a session 0 with my players on Sunday. So I really need to make sure that I've got something for them to actually go on. Next is Judgment's Kiss. It's like Judgment's Kiss. Judgment's Kiss says, question and answer. Okay. A largely emphatic amphibian mammal. This is your semi-sentient creature. Why is it only semi-sentient? Why is it not completely sentient? So it kind of has sentience. And I've already forgotten your original question about the sentience. Remind me. Sorry, I've got so much going on in my head at the moment. So let's come back to that Judgment's Kiss. We'll come back to that. Now, Daryl Lieber says, how much audience participation suggestions would you like for Wizards of Cairnbari? I'm doing this as a live show because I want interaction. I want some thoughts. I want things to bounce back on. I have had so much fun. This is not a plug for the podcast, by the way. You can find the podcast on the website, I hope, if the Web Goblin has done his job. Which I think he has, because he's pretty good at doing that, let's be honest. The whole idea is, in the podcast, it's called Dungeons of Diabolical Design, where I bring in guests and we design a dungeon together. Those dungeons are mind-blowing. They're absolutely mind-blowing. They're so much fun. You listen to those dungeons and you go, I haven't got a clue where this came from. Partly me, partly them, partly this wonderful magic that happens when 2 or more people get together to tell a story. So bringing you guys in, it's like, yes, let's do it. Let's bring it in. Bring it in. Let's talk about it. I mean, what else are we going to do? It's just so much fun. So much fun. So Daryl, input. Now, on the caveat that all input is equally accepted. Nothing is ridiculous. It will always get us to think, and thinking is always good. However, at the end of the day, I do have to put this whole thing into some kind of show. And so as a result, you might give a great idea, but I might not incorporate it. So just bear that in mind. Now, I'm going to take questions for another 5 minutes, and then we're going to move on. I don't know. What do you think is the most important thing about running a one-shot, preparing a one-shot? I think the most important thing is why do we play a one-shot? We play a one-shot because either it's a new system or because we want to have fun. And if we want to have fun, I mean, we want to have fun all the time with role-playing, but it's also about trying new things. So as a game master, I think you should try new things. So if you're going to run a one-shot, I want to run a one-shot. I want to run a one-shot that is a horror. I don't run horror before, so I want to try for horror. But then don't worry about the story. It's horrific. There's a dead body. It wakes up. It tries to eat the party. Boom. There's your horror story. Great. But how do you make it horrific? So for me as a game master, when you're running a one-shot, it's about saying, okay, how do I do this so that it does that and is not the same as I would normally run a game? And as a player, I think it is exactly the same advice. As a player of a one-shot, go into that one-shot saying, I want to play someone who is very quiet and very demure and a bit of a pacifist and is always worried and nervous. But I want to help my party, but I'm very nervous and I'm very worried and I want to try and explore that as a character. Oh, by the way, he uses a two-handed sword because he found it in an antique shop whilst looking for little china cats. I don't know. There we go. Okay. I saw a good question, but it just popped off my screen and the rule says I can't then go back. So the Dark Swordsman 13 says, who has political power in your world? That's a campaign question, isn't it? And I said I was going to start on campaign, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So as everybody asks, where do you start in terms of campaign design? We've got a name, the Wizards of Cairnbari. We've got some vague ideas in terms of the system. Well, we know the system we're going to be using, and we know that that means everyone can cast magic. So where do we start with this whole thing? Do we start with our adventure? Do we start with our big bad? Do we start with our map? I don't have any of these things prepared. I've got zero zilch. The closest I came up with was this image. That's as much prep as I have done. So what inspires us? What gets us interested in this campaign? You're playing wizards and you can cast vast amounts of magic, and hopefully you don't destroy yourself by casting too much magic or trying to reach beyond your capacity. What type of game is that? What type of campaign is that? I think it's an interesting space to start. What is the world like? What is that world like? And is it going to be fun for the players to start in? Is it going to be fun for the players to start in? So I see people are doing it already, and I think that's brilliant. And it's happened on both channels at the same time. Either you guys have done this before or you know how to do it. Write the word suggestion in front of your suggestion. So there we are. So let's do that. Let's do that. So Avonlodge, firstly, thank you very much for that donation. I really do appreciate it. Modern morality on D&D, take me out of immersion. It's a good statement. We will unpack that. The idea of modern morality on D&D, it's a tricky one. Because if we go back to medieval morality, then a whole bunch of things start to become very, very real, and we have to figure out how to portray those in such a way that it doesn't look as if we're endorsing them, as if we're just using them. So bear that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to take some suggestions now. Jimmy James started the ball rolling. A group of people who've sworn an oath of solitude until the blight is purged from the lands. Okay. A group of people who've sworn an oath of solitude until the blight is purged from the lands. Tinwegan says Cairnbari is the mountain range where the School of Wizards is based. Billy Hollywood says the kingdom that the players start in has just fallen into civil war as the last king died under suspicious circumstances, and a group or someone in the group is linked to the king's death. That could be interesting. Raymond 1308 says, do you have a pantheon? No, this is a complete start from scratch. Thanks for the gifted sub. Didn't see it whilst cooking, says Tinwegan, to Sammy Critfiggle. Well, there we go. Based on the picture, I think your suggestion is a good one. Not sure what that refers to. G-Master says, Middle Eastern inspired world. Persians. That could be an interesting one. Middle Eastern. The Dark Swordsman 13 says Cairnbari is the name of the first person to discover magic as it is currently used, or could have been the first one to write down how to use it. That could be a way to go. SJ Ninja says, what if magic was completely new to the world and all magic was like wild magic? That is an interesting space, but then there's an immediate question that we have to ask. Why is magic new? What brought it in? Where has it suddenly come from? The Grumpy Game Dev says the moon is called Cairnbari, the Wizards of Cairnbari of the moon. Does magic only happen when the moon is up? It's an interesting premise. The problem is that the players will then sit in an inn or a tavern during the day, recovering, recuperating, and resting until they have their magic back. So whenever we try and create, and I'm not picking you out in terms of, okay, I'm going to choose your bad idea. It's not a bad idea. It's a great idea. But as I said, I list the idea, I put it into my head, and I compare it going, why would the players want to do this? Why would they want to be in that space? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. And then I'm going to go for another 3 minutes, 4 minutes whilst going through this list. That Bush says, an extinct civilization that held immense magical power but destroyed themselves with it. That's an interesting one. We can find relics of this extinct civilization. T. Guidewolf said, Cairnbari is currently an order to support the local rulership. However, its origins actually trace back to an ancient curse. Oh, that will rear its head quite soon. That could be an interesting one. Army Aircat 2 says, setting Underdark of the future. So it has nothing to do with fantasy. It's not a bad one. I will be honest with you, though. There's more interest in fantasy than there is in future. And burn me at the stake, but it's true. It's true. I wish there wasn't. I'd love to play a sci-fi game or a fantasy game. Grizzle says, have a trio of gods with their symbols being bird, raven, hawk, and owl. With their being a bird, raven, a hawk, and an owl. The Cairnbari, okay. Have a trio of gods with their symbols, the raven, the hawk, and the owl. We certainly could do that. That's not too much of a problem. Magic is here because of the elder gods. They have returned. Diabolic Lucifer says, the blight, at Jimmy James, says could be a monstrous fungal hive mind that is spreading from a distant region of the land ferociously. Now, that starts to become an interesting setting. Magic is new because the world is new, says Beyond the Six, I should say. Could be. Let's think about that one. The moon thing is a cool idea for a different medium. It could be. It also could be that the moon... Oh, there we go. Des Kais says the moon acts like a charger for magic. Or perhaps what it does is the moon starts to change the magic in some way. That could be something interesting. The challenge that we then have... I mean, I like the moon thing. I do like the moon thing. Don't get me wrong. The challenge that we have, though, is then you start saying... How do we keep track? Hour 1, hour 2, hour 3. Could we use that as our weird MacGuffin? It worked for the series 24, where every episode was an hour long, and that was an hour in real time. Complete rubbish. But anyway, could it be something like that? Maybe. So there we go. Next one is Terry K says, the edge of war has brought the Academy of Mages trying to obtain and protect the artifacts of the area that no one should get a hold of. I like the Persia aspect a lot. Inky833 says Cairnbari is the code of laws these wizards follow. There may be moral rules or physical laws. Are there other wizards who follow different rules? Okay, I said I was going to stop, and I think we're getting to a point where we get something that's pretty damned cool happening here from a whole bunch of suggestions. And again, just in case you are new to the channel, firstly, we are designing the campaign for the Wizards of Cairnbari that I will be running as a live show every day next week for an hour every single day. And it'll be available as a podcast as well, and it'll be on YouTube if you are watching from Twitch. We're trying to design the campaign at the moment, and what we are starting with is why would we want to play in this world? What makes this world cool? There are a couple things that have been thrown out here that people have kind of latched onto. And I'm going to try and summarize, and if I've missed anybody's, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I can do this, and then you guys will see what I am struggling with, all right? So you can have a look and see what I am fighting with. So let's just do that and just watch how quickly this stuff flies. Watch how quickly this stuff flies. Should I put it down here? Where would you want it? Would you want it there? Would you want it up there? Can't move the logo. Maybe there, maybe there, maybe there. So you watch how these things kind of tick past. So you'll see I'm trying to keep track. I'm trying to keep track of these as they scroll past. Okay, because I got Twitch and YouTube going at the same time. The moon has got this effect, and people have been triggering onto that moon, and I think it's because it's here. You can't see my cursor. I'm busy scrubbing with my cursor over the planet. So there is that definite planet. So I think this idea of the moon is a brilliant one. And we were talking about the race against something, and the Cairnbari are on a rush. There's a clock that's ticking. There's a civil war, and there's a fungus that's spreading and growing. So, what if the Cairnbari are from a magic academy? If I was a ruler of a land, doesn't matter whether it's Persian or Greek or Roman, or doesn't matter. And I had a population of people who had the potential to wipe out my kingdom by simply going, oh, I really wish my cow would drop down dead. And summoning magic, and in turn turning into these wild berserkers or ghasts or whatever. I mean, what would you do as a king? As a ruler? You can't execute everybody because everybody has it. You can't, or maybe you could find a mineral or a material that you have to wear and that suppresses the magic. But that's not going to work really well either. So I think one has to really, really, really look at it from that perspective and say, right, the king could very possibly set up academies. Lots of academies. We are going to be training people to use this stuff safely and effectively. We are no doubt going to have an underground group who set up these matches. You're a poor peasant, you're a starving little street rat. Come and join one of the arena fights. They're completely illegal, where you throw magic at your opponent. You don't have to use magic, you can just kill them. Just kill your opponent. Whether you use magic or not doesn't matter. But we could blame, it was a voider, he turned into a voider and he ate his face off. I mean, you can get away with so much stuff when there's all this magic flying around. So I would say, right, let's do this. Let's do this, because I really like these ideas. The moon affects things within the world. And there are certain creatures and plants. Now, this for me is very, very important. There are certain creatures and plants that are affected by the magic. Sentient beings, because there was a question about sentient beings can control the magic. They can pull it out of the ether and they can control it and do what they want with it. Plants and animals who maybe are not aware of it, it will still be there. And if nature has taught us anything, especially with extremophiles, that's bacteria that live on the edges of volcanic vents. I mean, nature will find a way to utilize everything. So if there's bits of magic in the weave, I think that nature will find a way to utilize that. Not all the creatures, definitely not all the creatures. But I could imagine that you'd have horses that when they get into the zone, when they're racing across an open field, might draw some of that energy into themselves and then fly or move faster. And the more dumb ones will spontaneously combust. I mean, it happens. So if we had this fungus, because I like this idea of this growth. If this fungus feeds off magic, it makes magic very, very dangerous. And it also means that you can't then defeat it using magic. You have to use the little grey cells, or perhaps you have to use fire, or you can use magic, but you have to use magic in different ways. So instead of throwing magic directly at it, you have to use your magic to pull chunks of rock off of a mountain and throw them onto it. Or you have to use magic to raise up a barrier of thorns, which then will dig into the flesh of this fungus. To me, that's really cool. So let's do that. Let's do that. The fungus is spreading. Now, we don't know where it's coming from. We don't need to know where it's coming from yet. The fungus is spreading all over the space. The Wizards of Cairnbari, let's make them an order. There were some suggestions that they were an order or that they were a college. I think they could be both, to be perfectly honest with you. I think the Wizards of Cairnbari, the wizards have a responsibility to the land. The king will have ordinary soldiers and knights, but this is not for them to fight. This is something different. Nature is behaving in a different way. So they're going to have to go and find this. Traxtronomega, glad that you were part of this. I didn't plan on it running more than an hour, but we haven't got there, so I've got to carry on going. So yes, there we go. Thank you for being part of the stream. Line Cromel says the fungus is not just growing because of magic. Maybe the fungus is the unknown source of the magic. It could be. That's not a bad suggestion. Then will the players want to destroy it? What if the magic is being grown by or the fungus is being enhanced by somebody else? That might work. Jiras says the Wizards of Cairnbari try to achieve an ultimate goal and do not realize that they are tearing the world apart. That could be something. Based on those two suggestions, what if the fungus was a naturally occurring event that nature used to mop up magic? So magic is getting stronger, and the wizards don't know why. Then this fungus, which starts to eat things and create zones of dead magic, starts to grow across the land. And the wizards are told, go stop it. It's eating everything. But then they realize that, hang on a moment, this fungus is going to grow until it has lowered the magic of the world to a point where it can no longer feed on it from the atmosphere, and so it dies off and has restored balance to the world. What do you guys think of that? Could that work? Does that sound like it makes sense? Not sure. Yes, F. Huber. The fungus wilts when someone casts a spell near it because they are sucking the magic out. And the closer the caster is to the fungus, the stronger the spell effect. Yes, because the magic is being drawn to the fungus. What do you guys think of that? What do you think of that? So that gives us, after an hour of wandering around the topic, I think that gives us a pretty cool space to be. Excellent question the Board Lich asks. Where do the players come in? It's a brilliant question. It really is a good question, because we need to make sure that we can answer it. We absolutely need to make sure that we can answer it. And the way in which we answer that is the players have to be at the center of this. Now, I've got 2 players, because I really wanted to only have 2 players. I wanted to keep it small and intimate, more like a TV series than an ensemble. But I've got 1 player who got hold of me and said, please, I'd love to play in your game. And I haven't yet played a longish game with this particular player. So we'll see. He's checking with his wife as to whether he can take time off or not, which is brilliant. I love it. I'm looking at suggestions. Inky83 says, magically inclined kingdoms deliberately grow the fungus in farms as fuel for wizardry. That could be an end result. That could be something that comes out after this campaign. But I feel like the players' characters need to be the ones who discover that the fungus is actually eating the magic and is bringing back a balance. I feel like that's what they need to discover. And that is that almost at the end where they go, hang on a moment, this fungus, what do we have to do to stop the fungus? Nothing. We need to let it grow until it kills itself. All right, so now we don't yet have a plot, by the way. We have an event. We have an event. Fungus grows and absorbs magic, restoring balance to the world. That is an event. We don't yet have a plot or a story. Jimmy James says, the phases of the moon make magic harder or easier to cast, up to a plus or minus 5. Jimmy, you have embraced these rules. That's super cool of you. Thank you for doing that. But yes, we certainly could do that. As the moon gets to its maximum, the only reason or question I have is, why does the moon have an effect? Now, we know moons have tidal effects on water. I see a suggestion here from Landon McKay. No, was it? Yes, the fungus is a natural magic spore that falls from the moon. The moon is the hand of a deity or the home of a higher sentient race. Okay. Second sentence, let's leave for now. The first one, the fungus occurs on the moon. Or moons. Maybe we have multiple moons. Okay. Landon is looking for a plot. The fungus has been manipulated by the big bad to siphon magic into themselves and increase their power. I think we need to think more about what happens around the fungus. Let's think about that for a moment. So we don't have to look for plot just yet. So we don't need to panic. Just yet. But taking on that, this fungus is absorbing all the magic in the area. So as you get closer to it, your magic gets weaker in certain areas, but stronger in others, as we kind of create these low and high pressure systems in the world. If you were a barbarian warlord, or not even a barbarian, if you were a warlord, now would be the best time to strike if you had an army that didn't rely on magic. Because there isn't any. So this would be the perfect cover. I have a horde of 20,000 berserkers. I can unleash them on my enemy who no longer has his wizards to be able to throw magic at the enemy. Does that make sense? Let's test that theory out. What do you guys think about that? They use the fungus as magic armor, says Riley Iwansiwowski. How would I pronounce that? Riley, they use the fungus as magic armor. My God, that's terrifying. That's interesting. Lance Pickett says, and this is a great question, how does the fungus use the magic it feeds on, and what is the waste product? Well, it's going to use the magic it feeds on to grow, because it's not mobile. It grows over a certain territory. It blankets stuff and will slowly feed off of that, I think. That's for the nutrients. So the magic is actually being absorbed into the fungus. So the fungus is not actively consuming it. It's just absorbing it, like plants absorb oxygen. What does it turn it into? That's a good question. What does it turn it into? Does it turn it into? That's a good question. Bronze Age sea people laying waste to wizards, says Iggy83. Absolutely. If the Bronze Age sea people cover themselves in the fungus and then attack. I like the idea that the fungus will consume these Bronze Age warriors, so it's kind of like a suicidal thing, but no wizard spell is going to work against them, which is fine because the system does allow for wizards to use weaponry and armor, so certainly it can go. Certainly it can definitely grow. The fungus has absorbed the magic from the earth and redistributes it throughout the world. Well, yes, it does. It rebalances it all. Because the magic builds over time. Some plants feed upon nitrogen and leave nitrates as waste, says Lance Pickett. Yes, absolutely. Fallow fields, the entire principle. Grizzle says, what has caused the magic to grow so rapidly that this fungus has popped up? You see all the questions that just burst when you start having all these questions. When you have a little event and suddenly you go, well, it's a world-changing event. How do we affect this? How do we look at this? So yes, what happens? Oh, okay, hang on. I've lost that first question. What has caused the magic to pool up? It could very well be. Remember, we were speaking about the king who was trying to restrict magic. If no one's using the magic, it could be pooling up. Kind of like if no one was breathing, we would get a lot of oxygen for a while as the plants just produced more and more and more of it, I suppose. If there were no plants and there were no people, there wouldn't be any oxygen. So perhaps it's because there's been this restraint on magic that magic has been building up. It's not a strong answer. It does not sit well with me, but it's an answer, something to work from. And that's the important thing, is when you're doing this, throw out an answer, regardless of how ridiculous it might be, and then you can adjust and fix it, rather than not do any kind of answer whatsoever. Tommy Fun says, magic on the world is getting more negative and thus attracting the positive magic of the moon, like magnets. Can see I've run out of coffee. That's not a bad idea either. Coffee. I mean, yes. Is the moon positive energy and the planet negative energy, and there's this balancing that needs to happen? Could that be our high and low pressure? Could be. Billy Hollywood says perhaps the fungus is truly reshaping the world for a better fungal future. How does the fungus prevent people from destroying it? Well, as you approach the fungus, well, maybe that's what the magic is used for. So the fungus absorbs the magic. Someone hits the fungus, or someone bites the fungus, or the fungus reaches a waterfall or a river, which would destroy it, would break it apart. It discharges magic to vaporize whatever it has come into contact with, if it sees it as a threat. I always like that part, if it sees it as a threat. So yes, we could certainly do that. The Dark Swordsman 13 says magic has increased because of a high tide. Like magic, it goes through its cycles. But then we wouldn't need the fungus to bring it back down again. I do like the idea that the magic has increased as a tide, but perhaps it's a tide of centuries. Or perhaps it just builds up over time. As the planet is spinning through the galaxy or through the solar system, it's just passing through magical particles. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We're going to get Metachlorians next. No! All right. Yeah, it just builds up. It builds up, and if it's not used, and if there's limited magic users, then that's it. So, all right, that's what we're going to go with. We're not going to go too much further on that one. Yeah, there should be famine. There should be refugees. Absolutely. Lojales says, if the fungus covers everything, there should be a famine and refugees. Or can the fungus be eaten? No, I like the idea of refugees. The reason why I like the idea of refugees is because it allows us to give the players scope. So the players are sitting in a tavern, and the next minute this disheveled, filthy man and his wife come wandering in, and they happen to be from a Persian-inspired empire. Why are you so far from home? It is because the fungus is attacking our villages. I don't even know what accent that is. I'd have to listen to more. I'll listen to more Persians. But that gives us scope. Hang on. There's a fungus growing in Persian territories, whatever it's called, and it's reached here. You have reached here? How? And then the next moment is, we need the help of adventurers. There's an invasion, and it's fungus. And you kind of get this idea that there is this massive, massive, massive thing. So that certainly could work very well. Eigencaster QED says the fungus could excrete toxic magic, some sort of magic that is dangerous to use. It could. We need to be careful of making it too powerful. And also, is the fungus really the big bad? It doesn't have to be. It is just an event. It is an event at this point. So, is the fungus self-aware, says Billy Hollywood? I don't think so. I don't think it's self-aware. I think it just grows. And I think that makes it more terrifying, is that there isn't something to negotiate or deal or barter. It's going to happen. What is the end game? The end game is to realize that the fungus is a necessity. The way that it sweeps across these lands, readdressing the imbalance of magic, is important. Danny Kriegbaum, no comment. No comment. So it just rebalances. And once there's a balance, it starves to death and dies and leaves behind very fertile soil, which allows everything to regrow and that sort of thing. So we start to get an ecological system starting to form. But yes, the Dark Swordsman, you are quite right. The fungus is the catalyst for the big bad to start their plans as they predicted this event, or they knew that this event was going to occur. So that's a good starting point. That's a really, really, really good starting point. We've so far spoken about, we've got a kingdom. We've got another kingdom to give us scale and to give us a difference. Do we need other kingdoms around? At the moment, not necessarily, and our players don't need to know about that. So we need a map. We do need a map at some point. So we're going to think about a map. Let's now think about our big bad. So this stream is probably going to go on for another 45 minutes or so. So that's a 2-hour stream. It wasn't meant to be this long. Anyway, I do beg, however, because I wasn't joking, I really have run out of coffee. I'm going to beg for a 4.5 minute break whilst I go and grab a fresh cup of coffee. I will be back. If people join and go, what's going on? Just tell them I'm grabbing a cup of coffee. I'm going to leave you in the opening loop, but the music will run out. It will only run that long. It was written for us by Darren Curtis, who I think is an absolutely fantastic composer. He's really brilliant. I'm going to grab something to drink. I suggest you do the same, and we'll meet back here, quite literally, at 23 minutes past the hour. Okay, I lied about 23 past the hour. I'm back with a fresh cup of coffee. Now, did we get anywhere? Ten Wigan, the warlord wants to eradicate the academies. That's entirely possible. Technophobe says mad druid exploiting fungus that appears once per century. That's great. Could very well be. Gimbal Lock says, what happens if someone brews up tea or mushroom tea from the fungus? It's an excellent question. Judgment Kiss says, does he have a Discord? He does. His Discord is, I will put it in the chat for you. That's our Discord, and if you head on over to the channel titled Circles of GM, so that's within the Discord server itself, the channel Circles of GM, you will find the Tri-System PDF is locked and loaded there. It is very, 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 very rough, but it is something that you can utilize and give me feedback on. That'd be great. So, Lajales says, the kingdom where it started, the fungal explosion, could abandon their land and try to conquer land like some tribes when the Mongols arrived. That is not a bad suggestion at all. And yes, history has shown us that time and time and time again. The Nguni movement from Congo down into southern Africa, exactly the same things were happening. They were being expelled and they just conquered as they moved down. Billy Hollywood says, what part does religion play during the event, and what are the religious sects doing about it? Oh, it's such a lovely world building question, that. The gods, and what are there, or is it multiple gods? Is it a single god? Is it monomyth? Is it are there even gods? In a world where there's magic, do you need gods? If we analyze why do we have gods in the first place, it's a way to look for hope when one feels hopelessness. It is a way to explain away evil acts. Gods and monsters go hand in hand, don't they? It's an interesting question, and we'll get there if we need to. Let's see what we need to do in terms of this world building. Let's see what we do. Okay, so now it's on the minute of the time that I said we would get back to playing. Get back to running this. So let's do that. Now, we have this fungal invasion. It may or may not have originated on the moon. I like the idea that it's come from the moon, like these spores attracted by the strong currents of magic. I like that. You could have a pretender god. You could have a pretender god who are using the tribes, convincing them to attack the nations who are the primary magic users. You certainly could. What if the big bad was the Cairnbari, who were trying to maintain power by keep hiding and downplaying the fungus to the king? Oh. The sudden growth of magic is due to the gods being born, or a new god being born. Do we really need to go that far? Let's answer a question. Someone wants something badly. What does someone want? The kingdom is being overrun by this fungus, which is destroying everything in its path, rendering it down into ash. Magic is going ballistic. It's going off in all different directions. Someone wants something. Pick it. Pick it. Pick it, I say, people. Pick it. Write a name in chat. Just any old name that's got a fantastical element to it. And if it could be Persian-esque, brilliant. So throw it in there. Just throw in a name. I'm going to throw a name in. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, I've gone to a different thing. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Good heavens! I don't know what was going on there. Throw in a name. Throw in a name. Got some cool. Ooh. I'm gonna ratchet it up. Okay. Never Ending Story in 2020. Good. A remake, yes. Oh, that was such a tragic movie. Okay. All right. We got a whole bunch of names that came rushing in there. Some really cool ones. The Cairnbari Grand Master Wizard. Yeah, could work. As Thrak. Agamorex. I like that, Candy Ginger. Agamorex. I really like Agamorex. Dana Maya. Pasha Dalrin, says Jimmy James. That could work. Agamorex. Agamorex is kind of... I really like that. Orthaz. Zordenkor, says Landon. I like Zordenkor. The Cairnbari Grand Sage, says G-Master. Zarigark. Such good names. Fasre. The Empress Aliyah, says the Dark Swordsman 13. Always, whenever you add in the word the Empress, or it always adds in some lovely things. Daskari, Shaidar, says Aiden KT. Okay, Jamshir, the Jam, it could be Jashir. Jashir works for me if I drop the M. The M just makes it sound a little bit softish. Jashir, Renarath, Mardanak, Galia. Okay, you guys can stop. Taraneth of the Zarkavi Fist, says T. Guidewolf. The Zarkavi Fist. Amur, the Cairnbari Grand Sage. She Verdolf. Darius wants to fulfill a religious prophecy. Shir El Habij, says Graham Bennett. Certainly sounds Bakdahari. Okay, all right, guys. This is amazing. This is so much. Names are for the weak, says the bored lich. Grand Vizier of, fill in the title of the land, is called Maya and is embarrassed. Okay. There were some really awesome names. There are so many awesome names. I don't know how to do this quickly, but I want to capture this because there are combinations here. So this is... You can't teach this as a technique, right? Agamorex. Okay, I like Agamorex. I really do. I like Pasha Delrin, but not as a big bad. I like the Cairnbari Grand Sage. And why do I like these as opposed to other ones? Because they're easy to say. That's literally the bottom line. They're easy to say. They're fairly phonetic. These are important so that my brain can remember them. Empress Aliyah is definitely in. Shaidar is without a doubt there. But I think they're going to be Shaidar warriors. Jashir is what I'm going to bastardize Junie B's suggestion to. Jashir. Maybe I should share the screen with you guys. I don't even know what I'm showing at the moment. So here's a Word document I've just opened up. I'm grouping things. I'm not entirely sure where they sit. I think that could probably go there. I'm grouping things. Ren Arath. Yes, I like Ren Arath. Ren Arath. Okay, Ren Arath. I like. And I'm not going to go on for too long. So guys, please, if you submitted a name and I don't get to your name, please don't feel hurt. I really, really, really cannot impress upon you This is an amazing experience for me. I hope you guys are having fun. And during the show, by the way, so from next week onwards, I will still be taking submissions and suggestions because I'm going to need them. I'm going to need them. And these are such good things. J. McAvenue, Mardanak, Mardak. I will take Mardak. I need some short names. We've got some quite complicated names so far, so I need some short ones. Amur. I like Amur, but I'm not sure where in that they're going to fit, so I'm going to put them in the third category. Shir El Habij. Shir El Habij. I know what that is. I know what that is now. Shir El... I hope these aren't real words, by the way. Habij. Shir Al Habij, I love. Bakdahari, I like as well. And I'm going to do this. Bakdahari. I'll never forget my first partner always used to shout at me saying that you can't use an apostrophe in the middle of a word because it's just Bakdahari. And he's like, well, why just not call it Bakdahari or two words? I'm looking at these. Kalasar. That's a great name. And I think I'm going to put that down here. The and I'm going to drop the apostrophe just for Colin. Kalasar. Okay. Azthrak. It's not jumping at me. Thaco, says Jimmy James. I will never call it Thaco because I fear Thaco. I really do. I hate Thaco. The Grand Vizier. We've got the Cairnbari Grand Sage. And Vizier is very cliche. It's not bad, but it is cliche. So let's get rid of that. Doglate Miliv. No, too complicated. Initiate Ontaris. Vodmordak. We've got an Adak. We've already got a Dak. We've got Mardak. Sikander. Okay, Sikander. Sikander. Does it jump out at me? Sikander. It could work. Okay. Let's now move away from these. I mean, these are just such cool names. Such cool names. Okay. All right. Stop. Do you see how I've categorized these into 3 different spaces? And I mean, these are brilliant names. These are brilliant names. And we're going to change it up. We're going to do this again. But what I have done here is I have said, okay, these guys are evil. So I'm going to put here evil NPCs. These are cities or locations. And these are good NPCs. Okay. So this is what I am putting together in my head. As I'm looking at those names, I'm like, oh, that sounds like a city. I want to go to the city of Shir El Habij. It sounds wonderful. Or the city of Amur. Or Bakdahari. Brilliant names for cities or locations. Whereas the evil warlord Agamorex, with his assistant Jashir and his Shaidar warriors, led by Mardak, very, very dark. And Sikander could be anyone in those places. The Empress Alir, defended by Pasha Dalrin, has her lover of Ren Arath, who's actually a commoner. And Kalasar is a warrior who's sworn to protect the Empress, or something like that. It doesn't really matter at this moment. We're still building our campaign. So now we take this, and let's come back to it. And we can fill in the gaps. So let me just go back to black text here. And we can go, where is that name? I'll move that up there. So Agamorex. And we don't need that font. Thank you very much. Go with something like that. It's a little bit easier to read. So Agamorex. wants something. They want something. What is it that Agamorex means? What is it? What is it? See, there's lots of talk going on about Persian-esque sort of names. Not a bad question. The kingdom is incredibly powerful due to the magical academies, and the fungus incursion is a weakness to be exploited. Okay, so Agamorex wants territory land. Yeah, let's go with territory land. It's a simple one, but this is a simple story. Dan Anrid says to experience a certain emotion. You know, these complicated plots are awesome. Landon says to be the only magic user. They want purity and a purge, says Harris Sermis. I agree. I agree. Let's put those two things together. Let's take the idea to be the only magic user and to purge. So what if Agamorex is destroying the educated mages? That's what he's doing. He's targeting the mages. Whilst the magic is weak, he's targeting the mages and destroying them because he feels that magic and the use of magic has made them impure. That could be something interesting, I think. Jimmy James has taken it further. Agamorex wants to control the fungus by the next full moon to purge the world of mages. Well, we'll get there. Let's not fill in the full sentence just yet. But yes. All right, so he wants something. He wants something. We're going to put this in here at the moment to end... to be the only magic user. Okay, and we'll get there. That's why there's a whole bunch of other blocks. That's why there's a whole bunch of other blocks. To be the only magic user. We'll kind of come to why in a little bit. When is the specific time? When is the specific time? That's the question. When is the specific time? By the next full moon. By the end of the fungus. Before the end of the fungus. Okay. That makes sense. Before the end of the fungus. Because otherwise magic users get all of their powers back. So yes. Before the end of the fungus. Now, just as a heads up, there is actually a video coming out on Friday where I'm filling in this table and explaining this table. So if you are confused by this table, on YouTube channel, How to Be a Great GM, I'm explaining what on earth this table is all about and how to fill these columns in. Why is he having difficulty? Why is he having difficulty? Hard to control the fungus. Can he control the fungus? I don't think he even can control the fungus. I don't think he can control the fungus. This template, by the way, is available for download, free download, from my website, www.greatgamemaster.com. If you have just joined us, I will put the link in the chat below. The fungus is very unpredictable, says the Dark Swordsman 13. The Board Lich says, I know the table. I read your book like a good boy. There we go. 10 points to you. Head pat. Hard to know what the fungus will do. I think we all kind of getting on this idea. The mages are tricky. They keep moving. There's a corrupt archmage who's fighting him. I think that's going to be the Empress. But is she actively fighting him? Or is she trying to save her kingdom? Gimbal his second in command claims the fungus can be controlled, so he's scamming the big bad. I like that. I like that. And I think we have a name for his second in command. Jashir. Jashir could be definitely a good name for the second in command. I think that could work. So I'm going to continue on my notes here. Is Warlord trying to purge all mages from world, so he is only mage. Okay. Jashir, second in command, claims to control fungus, so he has power. That's a simple motivation, but that's all the way to do it. Is this the best way to make a campaign as a beginner? Looking for tutorials and help, please. Flory Hanneman, yeah, you start with this sentence. Someone wants something badly by a specific time and is having difficulty getting it using certain tools because of resistance. So, yeah, we're definitely getting there in terms of putting this together. I'm taking a very long route because it's an interactive session. But generally, if you start with your sentence, you fill in the sentence, and then you flesh it out. You can go in all kinds of wonderful and amazing directions. So he's having difficulty controlling it. I like the idea. The fungus is unpredictable. Okay, so I like that. We'll come back to that one a little bit. What is he using? His Shaidar warriors. What is he using? What is he using? And I'm going to steal that, Terry K. What is he using? What is his is he using forces? Are they just blunt force trauma? I think that could be it. The crystallized skull of a legendary archmage, says David Anrid. You know, it's not a terrible idea, David. And by that I mean it's actually a pretty good idea, but not perhaps for what you want us to use it for. The crystallized skull of a legendary archmage could be the symbol under which his army marches. It could be that Michael Necker has given us something to think about. Ancient artifact with the stored life energy of a sunken civilization. What if this crystallized skull of the legendary archmage, it isn't magical? Not in the sense, because remember, he's about destroying magic. So I think we want to leave that as part of his theme, his background sort of thing. But Des Keys might be onto something when he says, or they or she says, religion. Ten Wigan, I thank you for being here. I really do appreciate your contributions. Have a great and safe day. The Shaidar warriors are basically a tireless army of stone warriors, says Haran Miller. What if the skull, this crystallized skull, has no magic except that the Shaidar warriors will fight for whomever holds it forth as their banner? So Agamorex discovers the skull, discovers that the tribes around the lands will respond when he holds the skull up. He, she, they, we don't know what Agamorex is yet. When they hold the skull up, the tribes will follow. And the tribes will do whatever is spoken by that who controls the skull, for they are the chosen ones. I quite like that idea. So the Shaidar warriors are religious fanatics following the fossilized skull of... What was the name? Did we have a name for this fossilized skull? Did we have a name? I don't know. We didn't. Did we have a name? I'm not sure. Almost like the Freeman. Yeah, the Shadukar. Shaidar was the fallen civilization. It was the forgotten civilization. Fossilized skull of... I'm going to leave a blank space here. Shidar were or are the forgotten civilization of Amur. There's our name. There's our location, right? Amur, the forgotten civilization beyond the Phylarax Mountains. I've just stolen that from Max Denneker. The skull of Sidhi. Sesh Mel Senkarth. Amanata. Ontaris. Grizzles, you're going for that one. Cupidus Mendar. Azthrak. Judgment's Kiss. We got to move forward here. Sidhi, I'm actually, you know what I like about Sidhi? Is it's a chant. It's a chantable name. And why do I say that? Because it gives us this opportunity to say to the players, as you approach the army, they start chanting. Sidhi, 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 Sidhi. It's a great, great, great punch that allows us to give the players this, oh my God. And so whenever they are moving around and they hear someone saying Sidhi, it's like, that's part of the army of the lost civilization of Amur. So I think that works. Isn't Sidhi a title? Where does Sidhi come from? Whoever gave us the word Sidhi, give us the origin. I hope it isn't a title or an actual word from, Iranian. That's terrible. That's awful. If it's Sumerian, that's fine. If it's Akkadian, that's great. Where does Sidhi? Sidhi is a Sanskrit word that means fulfillment or accomplishment. Siddhi is a Sanskrit word. Oh, perfection. No idea, I just made it up, says G Master. But if Siddhi is a Sanskrit word, Sanskrit is from the right area, and it's not a name that will be taken as being as taken as insulting or anything along those lines. Brilliant. Okay, Sidhi is even better. It makes us look even more professional. So we're going to claim that was entirely intentional and that we spent years researching Sanskrit to find the perfect word. All right, that's how it works. So back to our original. Look at this, how it's growing. I love how it's growing. I'm going to show you this page in a little bit. So using the Shidar hordes, warriors. No, warriors is better. I think it sounds more professional. Using Shidar warriors. Okay, and we're going to fill in a whole bunch of information about that. And why is he having difficulty? Because Sidhi are Irish earthen mounds. Okay, that's spelt with an H-E, so that's fine. We're not spelt with an H-E, so that's okay. Anyone else have any issues? I mean, that's great. They are using fungus-fed beasts of war or golems made of fungus. We'll get there. So they're using the Shaddai warriors who respond to the use of their artifact. That's not a problem. I think we're getting there. We need to just. Is it because? I think it's because. It's the antagonistic force. Because I've got a small party, I think they should be actively fighting this big bad. Sometimes you go, well, it's the Empress Alea is fighting back. I think this is because I think we can put here very specifically the PCs. Now, what does this mean? What does this imply? It implies that at game session 1, the PCs have to become aware of Agamorix. And Agamorix has to become aware of the PCs. So I think that's where we need to be. I think that's really where we need to be in terms of that. So there is our sentence. Agamorex wants to be the only magic user in the world and has to achieve this before the end of the fungus, which is destroying magic, but is having difficulty because the fungus is unpredictable. Now he uses his Shaidar warriors, and they are not succeeding because of the PCs. The PCs keep interfering with the Shaidar warriors' operations and things. So I think that's really, really, really cool. We've got our sentence. Now we can extrapolate and expand upon it even further. What we don't have is we don't have our theme. There is a suggested theme that's come through, and the suggested theme is that we do not appreciate what we have until we have lost it. That is the theme that seems to be here. So it's going to help us. Having a theme is really, 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 really going to help us. And I like some suggestions that are coming through. The PCs were loyal to Agamorex, but now see that he wishes what he wishes to do. It could be tricky. Why? The PCs might join him. They might join him. So we've got to be careful how we position that. It's not a bad suggestion, but we've got to be careful how we position that. But there was another suggestion which I saw. That the PCs... Oh, the PCs are the champions of the Empress, says Joshua Wallen. Absolutely. Absolutely. That would be the easy one. That would be the easy... Or the direct one. Let's not say easy. That would be the direct one. Another option is that the PCs were loyal to Agamorex because they are Shaidar. But they know that he's a false prophet. So... Agamorex quote, "Magic, the darkest magic. My soul swims in it, scattered across time, trapped in the world of formlessness," says Duras. That's brilliant. That's lovely. PCs were in the ranks of the Shaidar, but deserted. Yeah, that would be... "The road to hell is paved in good intentions," says the theme. "The institutions of man can't contend with nature." Oh, that's not a bad one, G-Master, is that we cannot control nature. Nature finds a way, as they say. Maybe the PCs are betrayed. Could be. Could be. I'm not too fazed by that. I'm not too fazed by that. When I bring down this little block here, I've been writing notes as we've been going. And so we've still got some things we can play with. And I can move these down around here. Okay. So we've got Agamorex Warlord trying to purge all mages from world, so he's only a mage. Jashir, second in command, claims to control fungus, so he has power by being second to Agamorex. And he uses alchemy to control it. The Shaidar warriors, religious fanatics, following the fossilized skull of Sidi. The Shaidar are the forgotten civilization of Amur. And then I put down here, Amur, the forgotten civilization, beyond the Phylarix mountains. Phylarix is lovely because phalanx, as they would say, the phalanx is a line. So Phylarix, it kind of gives me a line of mountains, which I quite like. Right, so our end game is either the PCs just beat Agamorex to dust, or they destroy his skull. And that will cause the Shaidar warriors to withdraw. And that is not a bad thing. It would be better if they destroyed the skull, or if they realized that the skull was the key, but principally that this the fungal growth is part of a natural cycle. That's what we need to do. Magic finds a way, says Michael Necker. And you know what? We're going to use that one. I like that. Magic finds a way because it's cool. It's quirky. The saddest thing is no one will know except for the 138. Wow, 138 people. That's amazing. The 138 people watching this show. Only us. No, what am I doing? Control A, Control C, Control finish off. Control. What am I doing? What am I doing? Why is it not copying? Because I'm in a different program. I'm in a different program. I'm not in Word anymore. So magic finds a way, and this is going to be a real big guider for us. So those blocks are uneven, he said. How many years since I wrote this book and made this particular table? That's why we need professionals. Now, let's just shrink that down so it fits in a little bit. Magic finds a way. That's lovely. That's absolutely lovely. Yes, the Dark Swordsman. The PCs discover ruins that mention the fungus and its effects. We've got so much to do. We've got so much to do. Before we fill in this table, we've got this table. This table is going to help solve that exact problem. There's only room in the secret club treehouse for 138 of us, or more if more join. This table it's our solution. It's our biggest solution to this. Getting stuff, building stuff, testing stuff, realizing the goal. What does Agamorix need to do? What does he need to get? What does he need to get in order to achieve his goal of being the only magic user? What does he need to get? It's very, very, very simple, I think, and it's going to give us these 4 things very, very easily. What does he need to forget? What does he need to get? Pedro Montes, thank you. I'm glad you like this. This is the system that he needs to get mages slain. But more importantly than that, what does he need to get? What does he need to get? Wizard's blood, Terry K. He doesn't need wizard's blood. He needs wizards to be dead. He doesn't need to forget. No, that was me. That was a slip. He doesn't need to forget anything. He doesn't need to forget anything. What does he need to get? What does he need to get? You are Agamorix. Think about this, people. You are Agamorix. You want to wipe out all of the mages, and you are attacking now because the mages have less magic than they used to when in the presence of the fungus. So what do you need to get? He needs a way to track magic users, says Nicholas Dottavio. Right. That's one possible thing. So, track magic users. I don't know if I'm the only one left until I have them all destroyed. So I need to be able to track magic users. Let's go with that for now. What else does he need to get? What else has chat given me? Get the fungus, says Landon. Or more importantly, he needs to get a safe option with the fungus. Okay? By safe option, I mean his warriors need to be able to stand close to the fungus without being consumed by it. He needs some way in which to have the fungus no longer bother him. He needs to gather people that he can use as spies. Yes, absolutely. Gather spies. It's kind of the same as track magic users, but let's put the two together. What else? He needs more dukkha. Always needs more dukkha. A way to contain the fungus. He doesn't want to contain it. He wants to use it. He wants to drive it. The heart of magic protects his own power. He has an army. He's arrogant. He doesn't need that. He needs a way to use the fungus. Yes, kind of get a safe option for the fungus. Same kind of thing. Supplies for his army. I'm going to list it because he does need to do it. He definitely needs to do it. Supplies for army. Sure. Assumedly, the Kingdom of Amur is going to give him his supplies, but I'm going to put it down. We might need it. Enslaving people to build his army greater. Supplies for army, expanding army, because assumedly the princess is going to be fighting back. The empress is going to fight back. So just stop writing that. So supplies for army, grow army. Okay, yes, right. Anything else that we think of? Blackmail the party to stop them. He doesn't know about the party yet. This isn't part of his plans. This is his plans. The first 4 steps are his plans. He needs to know how to get the fungus, not to view him as a threat. We're going to use the fact that he can't go next to the fungus as a way to prove why and what he's trying to do. He wants to keep his own magic around the fungus and needs a way to do it, says Lance Pickett. There we go. That's it. It's similar to what was suggested before. Don't shoot me. Figure out. Keep his own magic safe from fungus. Okay. And for clarity's sake, we're just going to put in here 4 troops. Okay. Are there more? He needs a way to prevent new mages. Aha. Yes, he does. A fungal spore delivery as a bomb-type weapon, says Euphonic. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. And I'm going to replace that one here. Spread the fungus. Okay, we'll figure out how later. That's not what the point of the exercise is at the moment. Okay, we've got 4 very specific and very different options here. Supplies for army, grow army. I'm not convinced is amazing. I'm not convinced is amazing from an adventure point of view. Because remember, that's what the whole point is. Prevent the fungus from ending prematurely, says the T Guide Wolf. It's not a bad idea. Now, I also want, because I am me, and this is my channel, I want you guys to realize what I'm choosing here when I'm reading, and I'm looking at the screen, because this is where all my text is. I've got 4 screens, and that's where all my text is. Prevent the fungus from ending prematurely. That is more of an... Yeah, okay. Prevent the fungus from ending early. Okay, before he's ready. Because that's his whole time bomb, right? So I hope that you notice that what I am choosing from the suggestions that are being thrown out here, and they're great suggestions, but what I am choosing is I am choosing not specific things. So people are saying, oh, a sword or a this or a that. A specific thing is good. It's not invalid, but an idea that fits with the cause is it makes a bit more sense, because the building stuff is where we're then going to start creating objects and specific items. So that's why I've been kind of going, yeah, no, okay, he wants this, he needs that, he needs this, he needs that. Okay, lovely, good, brilliant. So there are first 4 adventures, okay? We'll rearrange these because I think we would do something maybe like this. Possibly. I mean, these 2 could be swapped around, but I think if we put them in this order. Okay, for 1,000 experience points, who can tell me the 4 different types of adventures that I usually base my campaigns on? Lance Pickett, you go get those great grandbabies from daycare. Have an awesome time and be safe. So what are the 4 types of adventures that I usually base my adventures on? I have 4 types of adventures. I'll give you 2 minutes to think about it. 1 minute to think about it. Beat the Turtle 605. Good guess. Close. Board Lich. Kinda. Yes. Definitely getting there. Okay. I see people are still busy working on it. Terry K. Discovery is one of them. There we go. That's the word that I use because it's quite specific. Getting stuff, killing stuff, escorting stuff, says Lars Sets. One more, yes, and it's always a tricky one. Story-driven character, always, David, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to put you out of your misery. The 4 are thwarting. We must thwart. It's a lovely word. Thwart. There we go. There we go. Delivering, collecting, discovering. Beyond the 6, 3 out of 4. You needed thwarting. So, thwarting. Discovering is the next one. I don't know why it's not coming up in chat. It's taking a very long time. Thwarting, discovering. Do we discover stuff? Thwart, discover, collection, and delivering. There we go. Political horror comedy exploration. No. It's a great base. It's not even a great basis for a country, but it's what most of them do. So when we talk about those 4 different things, thwarting, discovering, collecting, and delivering. Sorry, not collect. Yeah, collecting, collection. Brain, sorry. It's been a 2-hour stream already. I said I was going to stop at 2 hours, but I'm having too much fun. We'll finish this table and then we're done for the night, all right? Or the day or the afternoon. So by looking at those 4, we can come here and say, okay, discovering. I think that these can be linked together, or not linked together. I think we can assign these various things. So here, I would say discovering. Okay. So let me put that in a different color. Let's say blue. No, it's difficult to read. Idiot. There we go. Discovering. Okay. Because let me tell you, folks, by the time I finish this, I have an entire season already sorted, and you guys are solving how all this is going to happen, which is brilliant because that's exactly what's going to happen. The tracking or the gathering of spies for me could be a collection or a delivery. I think it's going to be a delivery. How the hell do you spell delivery? Delivery. I suffer from a condition called dysgraphia, which doesn't exclude me from being able to spell. It does preclude me from being able to write properly, but not that. So that's delivery. Keep his own magic safe from fungus. Maybe it could be the other way around. Could be the other way around, but we need to put in a thwarting here. Not in caps. Thwarting. We don't want to thwart him ending the fungus early. He needs to be able to succeed that. We want the players not to thwart it. We want them to do something else with it. So it would have to be a collection. Okay. So, and that actually works quite well. That works quite well. So think about it from this perspective. And maybe we do this. Maybe we swap these around. Okay. So look at the adventure that it's now saying to us. And you guys are there already. You guys are there already. G-Master, delivery, an ancient tomb that has info on the fungus. Deliver the text from an ancient tomb to the Cairnbari Grand Sage. Could be. So we say discovery. So the first mission is about the PCs discovering Agamorax has got spies everywhere. So this could very well be way before we even learn of the fungus. We hear whisperings about the lost civilization of Amur. And people have been something strange is going on. Mages reporting that they're being followed by shadowy characters who, upon confrontation, claim to be lost and head off in different directions. So we could discover that someone is building a spy network. For delivery, how is this fungus going to be spread? Now, someone's been talking about alchemical bombs built by none other than Jashir, the vizier from Kinnear. Going to stop. Jashir has built these alchemical bombs which spread the fungus. So this could very well be our introduction to the fungus. The players are walking along, this jar explodes and this fungus emerges, and immediately the magic in the area starts to shrink back. That could be interesting. At the same time, the discovery of the spies, by the way, we could hint that there's a fungal growth and that it's causing this magic change to happen. Why did I go offline? That's weird. That's very strange. Okay, sorry. A raid? There's a raid? Where did the raid come from? I didn't see the raid. Raid. Well, welcome, raid. Is there a raid? Was there a raid? I thought people left. I didn't think people joined. You know, if there was a raid, welcome. We're winding down on our designing of our adventure here. Rumors of mage schools being abandoned. Sikander is a good spy name, loyal to the Empress. I think, Jimmy, I'm going to take your advice. Sikander is a great name for a spy. Claim works for Empress, but is double agent to Agamorex. Okay, Sikander the spy. Lovely. Thwarting, keep his own magic safe from the fungus. There is a device, there is a something, a MacGuffin that the players learn about, that Agamorex can keep. It keeps mages safe. Is it an incantation? Is it... what is it? What is it that he has? So there we go. I don't know. Technophobe. If one of the PCs is a wizard, they definitely are. Then they will automatically discover that someone is following them. That's brilliant. Absolutely. I know I say that's brilliant. You go, but duh. I mean, obviously. But sometimes we don't think about these things. Yes, that's absolutely perfect. The first adventure, the PCs are walking down the street and someone's following them. Why are you following me? No reason. None whatsoever, Gov. Just, you know. And then they hear rumors of others being followed. It could be a great beginning. It really could be a great beginning. Dragons have the ability to see mages. Well, dragons, to my mind, having magic permeate stuff. This accounts for why we would even have dragons in the first place. So dragons are magical. So it could very well be, with the spread of the fungus, that there is a migration of dragons leaving the area, burning all in their path, consuming everything that they can because they're going on a long flight to get the hell out of Dodge. Could be something to look at. A parafat of poison and disease immunity. Again, are we going to have magical items involved in this thing? This is for us to explore and unpack. And of course, what we would do is we would take it over to here. No, we wouldn't. We would take it to here. No, we wouldn't. I've got the wrong blasted templates open. I will find the templates for the next stream that I do. But we would then take this one line and then we unpack it. And we can fill this in. And I'm going to fill this in over the next, tomorrow probably, so that if I do another stream on this particular subject, although I don't know if I'm going to have enough time before the actual show starts, we can use this to then suggest further movement forward. I don't think we need to go tremendously further. Are you guys enjoying this? Is this something that I mean, is this entertaining? Is this, I mean, I've been watching the numbers of people staying, and we've got 120 people. It's pretty amazing. I'm glad. A plant the Shidar grow themselves that gives resistance immunity. That's not a bad suggestion. The Dark Swordsman, you know, if the Shidar have it, if the Shidar have something, that's not a bad idea. Lolmaker 77 we're designing the campaign that I will be running from next week, known as the Wizards of Cairnbari. The Wizards of Cairnbari. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. I really am. I don't recommend you necessarily do this for your own games, but yes, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome to hear. A car on Tex, well, XX car on Tex. So yeah, it's to protect his own magic. He needs an artifact from Sidir's tomb. He's got the skull, which gives him control of the army. He's got the skull that gives him control over the army. So I don't think we want to go too far into that one. So yes. What's the sentence for this campaign? Red analog. The sentence for this campaign is: someone wants something badly by a specific blah blah blah. Agamorix wants to be the only magic user in the world, and he needs to achieve that before the end of the fungus. The fungus is this strange plant that came from the moon. It landed on the planet and it rebalances the magic in the world. The reason why he's having difficulty becoming the only magic user, however, by using the fungus, is that the fungus is unpredictable. Now, he uses Shidar warriors to actually go out and slaughter everybody. So there you are. And Nick, that's much better. Thank you. Rather than XX Caron XXXXXX. Yeah, and the PCs are going to try and stop him. The PCs are going to try and stop him. I like the suggestion of an herb or special medicine. I don't know who gave that suggestion, but yes. GM, where can we find these templates again? You can find them on my website, he said. I mean, they were there many moons ago. Or you can buy the book. I mean, I have to promote that, right? GateGameMaster.com. I'm just going to go to the website because sometimes the Web Goblin, you know, he moves things around. And I want to be able to give you accurate stuff. So there's a whole bunch of tables that we can go through, and the book tries to explain most of them. And there's a video coming up this Thursday, actually, which will talk about it even more. So I'm just going to have a look where he put it. He might have put it under modules. No, he might have put it under. Let me just show you this so you can see what I'm talking about here. Not completely bonkers. Let's see. Let's go to books, PDF. Tables, digital tables free. It's called Hot. Ouch. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I really shouldn't have done that. Anyway, so here are all the tables in PDF. You can see them all laid out there. There's plotters, fodders. That's interesting. Oh, there's the other half of it. This is so that you can print it out and then actually physically write by hand. A lot of people like to do that. So there you are. And then there's that description table that we're currently working on. So you can grab those, all 9 pages. And fill those in at your leisure. This is the one that I was talking about that we're going to fill in per line once we get to this line here. Track magic users, gather spies. We would come to the right window, this window here, and we would then start, right, they need to get this object, they need to get that. So I will share the link. There you go. All right, moon fungus to me suggests that the old ones would have something to do with it. Well, this world we're creating from scratch, so Arbaleths, yes, gives us a common reference point. Absolutely, it does. But yes, it could very well be something along those lines. Yeah, I'm not sure. Right, I think the interactive of this kind of cloud collaboration is very appealing to viewers. Well, I'm glad, Sean Shepherd. I really do appreciate that kind of feedback. Dark Winter says, has this happened before? And if so, what happened then? It's an excellent question. It is an excellent question. Has this happened before? Well, yes, it has, because we established that the fungus is it's naturally attracted to the planet when there's a magic imbalance. So it has to have happened before. So would the mages then be terrified of it? It's like, well, it's the fungal spurge. We have nothing. But then others would have attacked during that time as well. You know, they would have capitalized on that. The Bored Lich. Dragon scale armor can hold magic away from the fungus, but dragons are extinct. That's not a bad idea at all. At all. So that could mean destroying the magic armor. So I'm looking at this table now. Keep his own magic safe from the fungus. It's a thwarting mission. If it's thwarting, it means the PCs have to stop from happening. Stop from happening his armor being made. That's cool. That's super cool. I like that. I really do like that. I will have to remember that. I need to open the table. So I'm going to go here quickly and go find that table in my adventure phase, adventure template. There we go. So now I have the adventure template handy. And so that could be prevent the keep his own magic safe from fungus. Absolutely. And no, you are the wrong template. I'm not talking about villains and nemesis just yet. I am talking about keeping his magic safe. In the adventure template, the objective is prevent the dragon armor being made. Okay, and I mean, do you see how this is all just flowing out, just driving us forward, creating all of our points. The theme, Magic Finds a Way, we'll put in later. It's a master plot event. So there we are. Someone's sending me messages. It's a master plot event, and it's a thwarting event. Boom. What do we expect? It's a good question. What do we expect? What do we expect? What if the extinction of the dragons is what triggered the activation of the fungus? Could be. Could be. Could be. Could be. The fungus fall could have happened at the last civilization's fall. Absolutely, I agree. Shards from the skull could keep him safe. I like the dragon thing. Would a volcano eruption be triggered by too much magic in an area that affects the moon's fungus and it falls? Well, we've got the idea that the moon fungus actually, it grows so big it absorbs magic down to a certain level, and then there's no more magic for it to feed on, so then it dies off naturally. So that's how the cycle kind of works. Yes, Max Danica, the fungus happens when there's planetary alignment. I think that definitely would be it. So the dragons live on the moon. Maybe. I mean, we could have them on the moon. I'm not too worried about it. T-Guide Wolf says, PCs only destroy some of the armor, but learn part of its secrets. Definitely. They need to learn part of that. We haven't got to that yet. So what do we expect? They have to prevent the dragon armor from being made. What do we expect when we are saying the PCs have to prevent the dragon armor from being made? What we expect is for there to be a blacksmith. We need a blacksmith. A blacksmith, a forge, yeah, that's what we need. A crazy inventor. All right, inventor. Expectation. I say this on my channel all the time. Expectation is there to help us in terms of say, okay, well, we expect a blacksmith. What the hell is the name of the blacksmith? Have we got some loose names floating around? We do. Mardak. Mardak the blacksmith. It's lovely. Let me go back to the right place. So, and that's going to be Mardak. Okay, so somehow the PCs will need to learn about Mardak, the blacksmith, or maybe the forge of Mardak, or the crazy inventor Mardak. We go where we want to. The blacksmith is being forced. Is he being forced? He could be forced. Billy Hollywood is going on about Agamorax. Agamorax is collecting moon dust to cover his body with it, which makes him immune to the fungus. Yes, okay. I still like the dragon scales. Maybe the dragon scales are covered in moon dust. We can certainly do that. We can certainly put that in. That would be a little note somewhere. I'm going to drop it in here. I like that, though. The dragon scale is covered in moon dust because these scales come from a moon dragon. Okay? Which is immune to the fungus. Right? So we've got a little bit of a note in there. That could be the characters passing some kind of history check, or maybe they find a book. I'm not sure. I'm super excited about this one. Is it a 1-2-1 or a 1-2-2? This is an opening adventure. It's a 1-2-1. If you don't know what that means, that's our timing. That's our pacing. So we have one single act. We have two in our second act, and then we have a single showdown. We don't have anything more than that. What must the players learn? that Marduk is keeping his magic, is wanting to keep his magic safe. Could be. We must learn maybe something that's going to come out of here. We're not entirely sure. Okay, but we can fill this in when we need to. The blacksmith could be the last dragon that is planning to betray him. Could be, but remember, the PCs have to be the ones who stop Marduk. Why? Because they are the ones that prevent his plans from happening. So the dragon might want to betray him, but the dragon won't do it, because if the dragon does it, we don't need the PCs. And we need the PCs to be the center of our story. Again, I'm not attacking your thought. I am telling you why, if we adjust it slightly, it can be maybe a bit stronger. No one ever managed to forge dragon armor, and Marduk wants to be the first and only to achieve that. Yes, Warren Graham fan, absolutely. This Marduk we will flesh out, but we're not there yet. So a lot of times people get lost in following the trail of world creation, and we don't want that. We don't want that at the moment. We want to just get the story out. So the intro to this whole thing, what is the introduction? What is the key point that the players have to know? The players and their PCs, but what is the key point? What is the key thing that the players must get in Act 1? 2 random crap 3. That's pretty bold, assuming the players will learn anything. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They have to find out why Marduk is doing this, says De Winter. Thalon 72, Dragonborn blacksmith with the only knowledge on how to make the armor. Yes, absolutely. What does this mean for less dragon-related creatures in this world? It doesn't, I don't think. Defending the mages. Armor can prevent fungal effects. Yes. T-Guide Wolf, you got it. That's what they must... In order for this entire mission to work, they have to learn that armor prevents the fungal effects and that Agamorax is trying to forge armor. Okay? So that is what they must learn. Okay? Is the armor protects magic from fungus. Agamorax is having some made. Right? Be quiet. Alright, it's really, really, really tiny. I'm sorry. I can do this and make it a bit bigger for you. So that is the goal. That's where we put it into the goal. Armor protects magic from fungus. Agamorax is having some made. Right. So there's a brilliant question from 2 random crap 3. What if the player characters never learn that? You are in charge. And this is Act 1 of our adventure. This is the very first moment. This is the introduction to the goal. This is, it can be as blunt as maybe the Cairnbari Grand Sage is actually an ally. Perhaps Princess Leah calls the party into her war room and she says, "My spies have discovered that Marduk, the greatest blacksmith in our realm, has been abducted, along with his forge, cleared out completely, my spies say." Why do you think that Marduk would be abducted? And it looks as if he's been taken to Agamorax's camp. I can't follow there, they're still too strong for us, but perhaps you could find out why Marduk has been taken. Then the party goes, who the hell is Marduk? We don't know. So we meet up with the Empress's advisor, Pasha Dalrin, who says, there was a tome once that spoke of armor that protected against the fungal scourges before. But I've long since forgotten where that tome might be. Let's go back. It's a thwarting mission, so they have to defeat things. I believe it was held by that evil sorceress, the Dalamar Kuran. Get the book from them and that'll explain it. So they go along to the Dalamar Kalran, they slay the 3 evil witches who have a book which talks about Moondragon armor, which protects against the fungal scourge, and so they realize that Marduk has been stolen because he is building this armor that will protect Agamorex against the magic of the fungus. That connects to what he has a link to the fungus for some unknown reason. He wants to use the fungus somehow. But there's our clear line. We have to prevent the armor from being made. We have to get to Mardak. So now we've got it all. There we go. We have our enemy. That's the witches or whatever. I mean, you guys can come up with names. You come up with names. There is a book which explains how armor works. Sorry. That goes down here. And the witches of, I want to say Dathomir, but I'll get sued if anyone gets that link. All hail the Empire. Yes, I mean, there's so this is it. Oh God. All right, fine. Grizzles, you win. Grizzles, you win. The witches of Antares, you win. I am being defeated. You have persevered and persevered. The witches of Antares have the book. Have the book, but are evil. Deathless. They're evil deathless. The deathless are those that have no souls. So there we are. Okay, so there's our act. There's everything. That's all we needed to worry about. The rest will come into place. The rest will come into place as we need to. Where are the moon dragon scales coming from? Is there a group sent by Agamorex that is hunting down moon dragons? Okay, so Dark Swordsman 13, another excellent example for you, because what you're promoting or proposing is an alternative hook to get the players into the story. So we could very easily, and that's when we go to the next template, which I have just here, the phase, okay? If we wanted to, we could use this to give us our hook, our opening scene, which is moon dragons being hunted by NPCs in front of the PCs. We certainly could do that if we wanted to. So yes, so you're giving us a hook, which is brilliant. Why do they want, what is going on? So how do they figure out this armor protects or etc.? It could be the dragons. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So yes, there we go. The Witches of Dathomir. Wait, did anyone get that? No, they didn't. Make it a scroll. It could be a scroll. Dathomir was in my head too. Says Beyond the Six, the Scytherin sisters. Yeah, but where did the Witches of Dathomir come from? I think you have to have read books in order to truly understand it, or some comic books as well. Anyway, right. Act 2, the setup, the journey. So they have to journey to the witches of Antares. They have to get there. David says, I don't like the name Moondragon. Okay. Lunar Drake. Lunar Dragon. You guys work on one. Come up with one. Give it to us. Give us the name of the dragons that live in the moon. Cheese dragons. No, I don't know. No, not Azthrak. I can tell it's getting late for some people because they're getting grumpy. Namely me. No, I'm not getting grumpy at all. I absolutely adore it. All right, so setup of the journey. Whilst you guys try and come up with a name. There we go. Beyond the Six, a Star Wars novel, The Witches of Dathomir. Absolutely. Lunar Lizards, Mare Draconis, Astro Dragon, Lunar Wings, Moon Serpent. There we go. Max Denakar, Majora's Dragon. None of those are jumping out at me, I have to be honest. I mean, look, I'm the guy who came up with a sand dragon, so originality is not. Tide dragons. Keep going. Fenny dragons. Astral drakes. Shadow dragons. Lunar beasts. Stellar dogs. Fistantrix. Where does that come from, Invictia? Fisantrix. Celestial drakes. Tide dragons could work, but there's a bit... We aren't doing names. We are doing that. Well, we're doing the name of the dragon. What is the name of the dragon? What moon dragons. Dragons that come and live in the moon. Snakes of the ivory tree. That sounds like a drug. Umbral dragons. Twilight dragons. Eclipse dragons. Eclipse drakes. I don't know. Umbral dragons. Umbral, yeah, could work. Umbrals could work. Could work. I mean, Umbral is moon, right? Umbral, I think. Nocturnes. Nocta dragons. As in nocturnal, nighttime. Nocta dragon. Someone. Umbral is shadow. There we go. I knew it had something to do with. There we are. The pale ones. Draco Autium Luna. Cairnbari's worms. Cairnbari worms. Maybe. We have done over 1,000 messages in today's restream chat. Well done, everybody. Celestial dragons, nocturnes, glade dragons, moonstone dragons. Glade dragons are quite fun. Shroud of Lunaris, Noctragons, Noctrax, too many has. Lunar worms could work. Umbral worm. That's quite dark. Umbral worm. It's an umbral worm. Empyrean Echo. Umbrals are not bad. Plague monkey sword, says Durican. We're trying to come up with a name for the species. I mean, look, if we really are following the naming convention of certain fantasy worlds, then it would be cream dragons. I'm trying to think of the color. You know, brass dragon, red dragon, blue dragon, cream dragon from the moon. Selentic. What does Selentic mean beyond the 6? Selentic dragons. Inky83 says cold light dragons, but I'm saying, what about cold bright dragons? Like this. A cold bright dragon. Opal dragons. I think you're quite right. All right. You guys discuss it amongst yourselves. I need to fill in this. So set up the journey. This is a thwarting adventure, so they need to get there quickly. The journey part is actually not particularly important. So... we said a 1-2-1. Yes. Okay. So then the showdown is this one here. Okay. So did we get a name? Did we get a name? No one liked Bright Cream. I'm reading Dust Dragon, Evernight Dragons. Evernight. Did we get there? Kukul Khan. Oh, nice name. Meter Dragon. Cracking open a cold one of the boys. Motto of the Dragon Hunters Guild. Aurora Worm. Persian word for dragon is Zahak. That could be part of their species name. Evernight Dragon. Yeah. Pale dragons. I think some very odd smell in this. It's not me. Sorry, it's just coming through from somewhere. Don't know what it is. Alabaster. Oh, alabaster dragons. Alabaster dragons. I think we got a winner here, Red Analog. Alabaster dragons. What does everyone think of alabaster dragons? Alabaster dragons? Moonlight dragons to me imply etherealness. Pale dragons implies weakness. Alabaster, I think, could be good. That's 2 votes for alabaster. One more. I just need a third, and then that's it. They're alabaster dragons. Alabaster it is. Alabaster it is. Okay, fantastic. Armor protects. Okay, so what must the players learn? Armor made from alabaster. How the hell do you spell that? Alabaster dragons. Scales provides immunity to fungus magic drain. There we go. Okay. Lovely. So we filled that in. Alabaster. Alabaster. Yeah, okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you. Sold. Lovely. Right. Really bad moon triggers the alabastards. Gimbal lock. I'm going to give you 1,000 experience points. You can cash that in with any GM who has ever watched this stream. Well done for that. Alabastards. Yeah. All right. Lovely. So we have our full page. We've got our full sentence. Are there alabaster dragonborn? Well, I suppose there would be if dragonborn are part of this world. I don't know. We haven't finished making it yet. Right, I filled in the setup of the journey. They have to fight through the marshes to get to a witch, and I did see there were some suggestions for marsh names. That's cool. Again, we don't have to worry too much about that information at this point. The first attempt, the witches use riddles and demand answers. The reason why I threw in the witches using riddles is because we just had a fight in the setup journey, fight through the marshes. So they're going to be fighting whatever we want to put in the marshes. So then we want something different. We want something that allows the characters with intelligence to figure out the answer to a riddle. Whether they get the answer right or wrong, the witches will still confront the PCs for a final showdown because this is a thwarting mission. The PCs must thwart the witches, which will then prevent Marduk, the blacksmith, from forging this armor. And I know that we said here that the keep his own magic safe from the fungus. I know that originally we said that the blacksmith is going to forge this armor, that Marduk is going to forge this armor. But I think that the witches having the book that shows him how to do that, I think that will work. So this idea of Marduk being rescued, I don't think he is going to actually get rescued in this mission. It's just about the PCs getting the book which shows him how to do it that will then prevent Agamorax from actually building his armor. What I do like about that is that when he cannot have this armor made, he still has Marduk, the blacksmith, under his control. So we could then later on, under building stuff, we've given him Marduk, so maybe Marduk will build something for Agamorax over here. One of those fungal spores that fire something along those lines. So we've got a nice little seed happening, and we've got a great little adventure. And do you notice that this isn't overly complicated as an adventure? On the surface of it, you go, well, this is pretty straightforward. Yes, it is. But that's what we want. This is not... and this will convolute itself the moment the players touch it. The moment the players touch it, chain wreck, off it goes on its own direction. All we need to do is make sure that the PCs prevent the witches from giving the book of constructing alabaster dragon armor to an agent from Agamorax. It's as simple as that. That is adventure number 3. Adventure number 1 is the one that we should actually have plotted out, because that's the first one. Now, again, if you have read the book or if you have been following, I can fill out all of these points if I wanted to. I should do that, and we can do that. We don't really have a lot of time left. I certainly am going to have to call it a day. We're at nearly 3 hours here. But we fill this out. We don't have to do one of these for every single line here. Not yet. We need the first one, maybe the second one, and that's it. And we don't develop these further. Not yet. Not until we are on the adventure that requires this to be used. So when I get to adventure number 3, prevent the dragon armor from being made, I will then go in and put in names and assign things and work out what the riddle is. I don't do that before the players get there. And I certainly won't do that until they have figured out that the fungus is being spread by Agamorax and that Agamorax is trying to track magic users and gather spies. Why? Because the PCs are going to change things. They are going to derail things. They're going to go off in their own directions. So we don't need to spend days working out any more information than we currently have. All right. So I think that hopefully brings us to a happy space. Track magic users, gather spies is going to be a template which we fill in. It's going to be really easy. It's not too complicated. This is our introduction, and we know what we have to introduce. We have to introduce Agamorax to the PCs in Adventure 1, and the PCs to Agamorax. So there we are. Dark Swordsman 13, same time tomorrow, asks Dark Swordsman 13, do you guys want to do this tomorrow? Is this something that you would be interested in doing tomorrow? If so, give me a +1. Give me a symbol. I got a yes from Judgment Kiss. Thank you from Thalon72. Thalon72, thank you for being here. Liars are bad. Yes, they are. Okay, Fireswift 101. Hello, Fireswift. That's a +1. That's +1. That's +1. That's +1. That's lovely. All right, so yes, we can start. I won't make it run too long. Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Lovely. 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 I really do like that. And I completely enjoy these sessions with you guys. I really do. Right. On that note. Yes, I will then see you guys tomorrow evening, Thursday evening. Bearing in mind, I should be trying to kill the World Anvil team in a friendly match tomorrow evening. So I will start at 7 p.m. as I did today. So same time start, which was just under 3 hours ago. And I might end earlier so I can go and join in some of the shenanigans happening on their channel. But until then, yes, this was great. I really appreciate your time. And I hope that all of you have a great afternoon or evening or whatever it might be. And in these difficult, challenging times that you remain safe and remember to do all of the safety precautions. I have on my desk my little hand sanitizer. And certainly whenever I go out, that's what I lather all over myself. I hope you do the same. Until tomorrow then, I wish you all the very happiest of gaming, plot development, entertainment, family time, home time, recovery time, whatever it might be. I wish you all the happiest of whatever it might be. Until then, until tomorrow, goodbye.